Hey guys, I'm going to be reviewing the Issues self-titled album that came out yesterday from Rise Records from the band Issues. So I love this album, I'll just go ahead and say it. I think it's an amazing album. It's really unique for this genre and it's everything I expected from them and more. Issues has been one of my favorite bands since I heard Black Diamonds, and this record I think is really like a step up from that, but it also keeps with who they are, so fans that love that EP will love this too. And if you never listened to the EP, I think you could also really get hooked on this. Like, I don't see how you could not like it if you like this genre, or even if you don't like this genre, I could see this being the band that is like the exception or gets you into this genre. Like, this album's crazy. So they streamed pretty much every song on YouTube before it actually came out, I think because it leaked. So I had heard most of the songs before, and the first 3 songs they released, Stingray, Never Lose Your Flames, and Mad at Myself, I'll get into more detail later, but I loved them all. As soon as I heard them, I was like so hooked. And then the other ones that they released early, like, I still really liked them on first listen, but it took me, I think, like a few more listens to really love them. But now, after a few listens, I mean, I love every single song on the album. There's not a bad song, and I liked them all on first listen too, but you know, some songs it just takes you a few more listens to get into. So with that being said, let's do the track by track. So number 1 is Sad Ghost, and it comes in with this really cool like intro with kind of drums and like synth noises, and it kind of builds up to this. Michael starts out screaming, like standing in front of this bed with some matches, watch it burn, and then goes into like heavy guitars and screaming. So really like strong, heavy start. Pretty sure like it's the perfect start to the album. And the song's really good. This one took me a few listens to get into, but it's become one of my favorites like really quickly. It's basically about like being in a bad relationship and looking back at how sad you were and stuff like that. I mean, open to your own interpretation, of course, with like personal experiences, but that's the basic like vibe I got from it. And yeah, really catchy chorus. Like, Tyler's vocals are one of the things that really make this band stand out, because he's got this like R&B type voice. He's probably my favorite like clean vocalist. And arguably like the best in the genre. Like, I'm pretty sure no one would argue with that. Michael's screams are awesome too. It's just like Tyler is really unique. And then Scout's like scratching, and his synth is another thing that's really unique about it. So yeah, Sad Ghost is a solid opening track and pretty much sets the tone for the album really well. Mad at Myself is probably the catchiest song on the album. Like, right when it kicks in with the I'm so mad at myself, like, you're hooked. First time I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So yeah, I was really stoked about that song. And then like the verses, like, it sounds like an R&B song because it's mostly Tyler, and then second verse you come in with more like screaming, and then there's like a cool like syncopated like breakdown for the bridge with Michael. But again, like, without the screaming, you would think it would be an R&B song that was on the radio, and without like the chugging guitars. That's the cool thing throughout this album, is it's like R&B, hip hop, pop sounding like songs, but then you've got like these chugging like heavy guitar riffs and the screams coming in, and it's just totally sick. And I think that's what they're going for, and I think they accomplished it like really, really well. So that's one of my favorite songs for sure. Life of a Nine is again one of my favorites. Like, when this came out, I was like, wow, this is really different from like the ones they've released so far, and it's awesome. It comes in really heavy with Michael screaming, and then it's got a catchy Tyler's kind of like yell rapping in the first part of the chorus, and then it goes into like more singing, and the song's basically about like a girl that does some things that are not the best, and just kind of like the emptiness and things like that, but it ends on a positive note, which I'll get to in a second. But then the second verse is Tyler like rapping, and then he screams at the end of it, which is amazing. Like, it's great. Yeah, that's really awesome. And yeah, okay, my favorite part is basically the 2-step at the end, and it's possibly my favorite part of the album. And it's like, pretend you live for this moment, make sure how you live is worth every breath. And Michael screams it, and then Tyler sings it. It's just really awesome. You just gotta listen to it to know what I mean, but it's sick. Langdon House. They put all the songs that start with L together, I noticed. Life of a Nine, Langdon House, Late. Don't know if that was intentional, but something I noticed. Langdon House. This is possibly my favorite on the album too. It's based on American Horror Story, I've heard. Pretty sure that that's been confirmed by them, which I don't watch that show, but I definitely get like the creepy, twisted type vibe from it. Like, it's basically about like a messed up family, and kind of like it's from the son's point of view, and he's basically like doesn't have friends, is kind of like going crazy a little bit, and kind of delusional and abused by his parents and stuff like that. It's really creepy, and the synth in it, oh my gosh, like right in the intro and throughout the whole song, the synth that's in it, it's this creepy, cool little like synthy. I don't know how to describe it, you just gotta listen to the song, but it's amazing, and it makes it one of my favorite songs because that little synth like riff is so cool. It's probably not the right technical term at all, but hopefully you know what I mean if you've heard the song. But that's really awesome, and it basically, the chorus is like, oh, I forget this is all part of my imagination, so it's like delusional, creepy, just a sick song, sick song. Late sounds like, okay, when it comes in, it sounds like, it reminds me of like the beginning of a Kesha song, like the wow, wow, kind of like synth noises. That was a really bad imitation, but it sounds like that to me, and so like literally the first verse in the chorus sounds like it could be a pop song on the radio. Not that that's a bad thing, because it's really catchy and I love Tyler's voice, but it's definitely the most poppy song on the album, and I know some people won't like it for that reason. It's not my absolute favorite, but it has been stuck in my head for the past like 2 days, so can't argue with that. And then Michael comes in with screaming, and there's like the guitars and stuff, so it definitely like still feels like an Issues song, but like it also seems like you could hear it on the radio in some parts. Then there's Old Dina by Scout, which is cool. It's basically like this album's version of Black Diamonds, which is the intro track to their EP. And it's basically Scout like scratching and doing his thing, which is cool. I mean, I'm not really into like the whatever that genre of music where there's just like a DJ, but like it's cool in the middle of this album, and I think he's really good at it. Yeah, and talks about like the PHC, which they talked about, that they go get Chipotle, so that's kind of funny. And it's got the ooh, kill 'em in there, so that's always a crowd favorite. 7, Stingray Affliction, which was the first single, which I was obsessed with the song as soon as I heard it. It's heavy, it's got an extremely catchy chorus, and got one of the classic, like, Tyler Carter, like, soft breakdown type things with his R&B singing. I love that, and the ending's awesome. The intro and the ending of all these songs, like, are great. I mean, the middle parts are great too, but just, like, really strong intros and really strong endings. Stingray Affliction, what was I gonna say about Stingray Affliction? I think that's it, I guess. Oh, this is the one that's structured most like Black Diamonds, in my opinion. Like, you've got, like, screaming verse, Tyler chorus, screaming verse, Tyler chorus, and then Tyler, like, R&B type bridge, like, same thing as, like, Princeton, King of Amarillo, Love Sex Riot to some extent. So it's most like Black Diamonds. Personality Cult, again, one that's possibly my favorite. I know I've said that like 3 times now, but they're all so dang good. And this one, they posted something about it being about Maddie Mullins, but then Tyler was also like, oh, but he's one of my best buds, so that was kind of weird. But basically, how I interpreted the song is just about, like, anyone in the industry that's, like, narcissistic and, you know, is the personality cult type person. Like, they think they're, like, God and think they're better than everyone else and stuff like that. But it's not really bashing them, it's more just like, you know, I just want to be who I am. Like, this is who we are. Like, it's hard for us to be in this industry, and we have, like, mixed feelings about it, but, like, if you think you are just, like, invincible and that you're, I don't know, just, like, the words you say is, like, can't be false, then, you need to just fall off, because it's not true, we're all people. And just kind of, like, calling out that whole section of people in the scene. I think that's really awesome, and also this opening intro to this song is amazing. The synth part, I am obsessed with it. Like, the synth is killer on this, and whole album. But if you saw them on Warped Tour this summer, this was like their intro, and Michael sang like the first verse with it before they did Hooligans. So it's really awesome. Obsessed with, like, the intro, first verse, and chorus is probably like my favorite part of the album. It's just so good. So good. The rest of the song is great too, but like that first part is amazing. Amazing. I'm raving about this, I know. I'm trying to find negative things to say, but it's really hard. The one thing I will say is, like, the riffs seem to get a little bit repetitive, like, especially on first listen. The riffs all seem kind of similar, which they only have one guitarist, and I think AJ does an awesome job. But, like, it does get a little bit repetitive, would be my only complaint. But, like, once you listen to it more, there's more differences, but, like, on first listen, it's a little bit similar, only complaint. really, that I can even think of, and that's nitpicking. So, this review is getting kind of long. But Tears on the Runway Part 2, I guess Part 1 is on Tyler's solo album. This is like, feels like an R&B song. It starts out with Nylo, who I guess is like a female R&B singer. She's awesome. I loved her verse. I love this whole song. Having the 3 singers on there, Tyler, Michael, and Nylo, was really cool. And this is a really good song. I mean, nothing bad to say about it. I'm trying to like speed up because this is over 10 minutes now. So if you've watched this far, 2 more tracks to go. Settlement is, the song's about basically like a kid's perspective on like his parents getting divorced and stuff like that. Really powerful song, great lyrics. The opening line is, "Until death used to mean something more than a proverb framed on the walls of a broken home." So I think that's pretty powerful. Probably the heaviest song on the album. Really catchy chorus, again, like, awesome song. The end breakdown is brutal. It's a great song. Great song. 12 is Disappear, and this is the one Tyler wrote about his friend. I want to say her name is Rachel. Hope I'm not wrong about that, but that passed away. And so it's a really, like, emotional one for him. And this song, like, made me cry the first time I really, like, listened to it all the way through and focused on it. Like, definitely brought tears to my eyes. It's a really awesome song. And, I mean, great chorus, great verses. It's the longest song on here, I think. It's, like, over 5 minutes. And when you get to the end, it's, like, a gospel choir singing, the "Remember when I didn't need you, but I need you now." And so it does that, like, a bunch of times. And then Tyler comes back in and does it. And it's really moving and a really, like, perfect way to end the album. There's so many different influences on this album. Like, it's a metalcore album, kind of, like, but there's also, like, R&B, hip-hop, gospel, I mean, just plain rock, like, the whole dubstep stuff from Scout. Like, it's incredible. Please check it out because these guys are awesome. They're one of my favorite bands out right now, and they're really nice dudes. And yes, so everyone check it out, support the album. It's incredible if I haven't portrayed that enough to you already. It's a really awesome album.